Hi there, it's Chelsea Marie here, and I'm so excited to share this topic with you. I wanted to talk to you about adrenal fatigue. This is something that I have personally had my own little roller coaster experience with over many years, and I have found numerous ways to not only recover from it, but to really emphasize my body's health and to overall just make me feel better on an ongoing daily basis. So, with adrenal fatigue, this is something that is quite uncommon, I find, to a lot of people. I hear from a lot of my clients, my friends, my family, and just people who I'm always surrounded by that they are suffering through an extreme amount of fatigue. It's almost as if they can sleep for 10, 12 hours and wake up still not feeling refreshed and restored. So, this here is very well known as adrenal fatigue. Most people will instantly diagnose themselves as having hypothyroidism, which is actually a quite common side effect after your adrenals have had a high amount of stress and burnout for a period of time. So, some of the things that you may be experiencing with adrenal fatigue is poor sleep, insomnia, just feeling extremely tired all day long. Doesn't really matter what time of day. And if anything, you usually get a little bit of a burst of energy before you go to sleep. Which is like the worst thing ever because right when you feel like you've crashed for like an entire 12-hour day, you all of a sudden get this splurge of energy when the last thing you want to do is stay awake. Dark circles under the eyes is very common. Lower back pains. This is extremely common. And a big reason I found for this was also because the adrenals are low, are they're found right beneath the kidneys. And the kidneys in Chinese medicine with adrenals, they're actually tied in together as like one organ. And typically, when someone is suffering from adrenal fatigue, they'll treat the kidneys. So you'll usually feel a pain around your kidney area where your adrenals are, which is around the lower back area. Excessive mood disorder is what some people may notice, where you just constantly are feeling either like depressed, um, have really like big amounts of like brain fog where you can barely even think. All of this is from the high amounts of cortisol that your adrenal glands are producing. So, the main hormone that most people know in regards to the adrenals is cortisol. Another one is adrenaline. So, what happens is when we've been through a period of stress, so let's say someone is either chasing you or you feel like you have to protect your life because either someone's going to come after you and fight you or whatever the case is, your body goes into the sympathetic nervous system mode. And that is your fight or flight. And that's when your body starts releasing these higher amounts of cortisol because you're under this huge amount of stress. And it just triggers this huge response throughout your entire body that allows you to protect yourself and to get away. But what happens is, under a long period of time of stress, your body starts producing higher amounts of cortisol. So this can be due from the foods that you're eating, whether it's high amounts of sugar, alcohol, caffeine. These put a lot of stress on the adrenal glands and cause them to release a lot of cortisol, because what the cortisol does is it reduces the effect of the stress on the body. Cortisol also regulates our metabolism. It helps our body to convert fat, proteins, and carbohydrates into energy. So, having an excessive amount of cortisol being released over a longer period of time, it actually really starts to affect our body in many different ways. It affects our digestion. Our body is no longer digesting our macronutrients like the carbohydrates, proteins, and fats the way that they were before. Which creates this huge ripple effect where our immunity starts to get compromised. We find that we're always susceptible to colds and flus. But to top it off, energy is just one of, I would say, the most number one known factors that come with it. And usually, when you've hit that mark where you're feeling so extremely tired, it's because your adrenals have been under stress for quite a while. So instead of focusing more on the topic about what cortisol really is, you can do so much research online and find so many amazing articles. What I really wanted to bring attention to was a couple natural ways that you can actually start to restore your adrenals. So I just wanted to inform you and let you know that I am not a doctor. I am a holistic health coach, and I strongly believe that we all know what is best for our body. We know which foods, which habits, which relationships. We know deep down what is affecting our health. And what I simply do is just provide you with the space to become clear about what it is that is affecting your body and what it is that you can do to bring your body back to restoration. So these are a couple of things that I have found were extremely helpful for myself when I was going through a period of time of extreme fatigue. I was working extremely late hours of the night, probably up until 4 or 5 in the morning for a good 5 years. I was managing a nightclub, and there was a lot of stress that came from not only the hours and the time of day that I was working, but having to manage the staff, having to deal with the liquor inspector, having to deal with, when you are working in an industry where you're serving alcohol, you are serving with people that are intoxicating themselves. So it created a whole package of stress. And after so many years of just pushing and pushing and pushing myself to make the money and to do all the work, I found that my body was at a point where it wasn't able to handle anything. I myself was sleeping about 14 hours a day. I started to get extreme puffiness all around my body, mainly around my eyes. And this is when I had noticed that something needed to change. When it really started to affect my physical appearance is when I realized that, okay, I need to take action now and start focusing on this before it gets even worse. So one of the first things you could do is get back into a really good sleep cycle. This is huge in restoring your adrenals. Now, I also wanted to mention that when it comes to your adrenals, it's not just physical stress from staying up late and the foods that you eat. A big part of it is emotional stress too. If you're in a relationship that's extremely toxic, or you feel like it's just really, really, really weighing you down, or if you are at a job that you just cannot stand, like it's just so mentally draining on your body, that is also physical stress on your adrenal glands. It's not just the foods that you eat. So at any time that you feel that you've got something weighing you down, make sure that you can get into a really good sleep cycle. This will really help your body to start producing more of its inflammatory markers, your hormones that help to bring down your inflammation, like your melatonin and whatnot. This will help to get your body back into that state of the parasympathetic, when you can really just wind down and allow your body the time to recover overall. Eliminating sugar and processed foods is huge. As I mentioned earlier, cortisol plays a big role in metabolism. So breaking down fats and proteins and carbohydrates and telling the body what it needs and how to use it and whatnot. If your adrenals are so burnt out and you are producing a huge amount of cortisol, your body isn't breaking down foods the way that it normally would. So anything processed or carbohydrate wise is only going to put more stress on your adrenals. So avoiding that will make a really big difference with your energy almost right away. Definitely incorporate lots of vegetables, lots of fibrous foods to really help remove the toxic buildup, to remove the inflammation and the acidity that has been building up. When we have high amounts of cortisol that's been chronically being produced for a longer period of time, it really, really, really creates a huge acidic environment for our gut. I'm sure you've experienced this before in the past where maybe you had to go up on stage and you had to present in front of a group of people and you literally felt so sick to your stomach. You could just feel all the knots in there. Well, that was due to stress. And we may not always realize how our environment is stressing us out. And that's the worst part, is if we don't always feel the knots in our stomach, but even if we don't feel them, doesn't mean it's not tightening up. And when our gut is tightening up from the stress, things aren't being absorbed, it's creating a lot of inflammation, and it just affects this, it creates this huge roller coaster where you either end up with IBS or you can end up with leaky gut syndrome. It can overall cause autoimmune disorders and just create this huge ripple effect overall with your health. So eating clean foods is a huge step. Juicing and smoothies I found were one of my go-tos for myself. As our body is in a state of stress, it's harder for it to absorb nutrients. So I found that pre-digested foods were a lot of help. It just required less energy on the body to absorb the nutrients. And especially with juicing, where there is no fiber, the nutrients were able to get absorbed past the intestinal wall almost immediately. Coffee was a huge one. This is the worst. This fuels the fire. That's exactly what caffeine does. When we actually consume coffee, we increase our cortisol levels in our body. So if you've got high amounts, or if your body is in a state where it's completely burnt out and it's not even producing anymore, that is definitely a big no-no. You definitely want to make sure that you're definitely not drinking anything caffeine related at that time. So to top it off, a couple things that you can do as well is yoga. Yoga was actually one of my absolute favorite go-tos, and I found it made the biggest difference. When we start doing yoga, we're doing a lot of really deep breathing. We almost get into that meditative state. And this instantly triggers the body from leaving the sympathetic nervous state, which is that fight or flight mode, and into the parasympathetic. That deep breathing instantly triggers a lot of hormones into the brain, telling our body that we can officially calm down, that we're safe, we can relax, and this allows our body to start restoring itself, which is huge. That's exactly what you want. So one thing I found that also gave immediate relief was this formula right here by St. Francis. Now, once again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not prescribing this to you. I just wanted to share with you what I have found has worked for me, and it's also worked for a lot of friends and clients of mine. If you are on any kind of medication, you definitely want to bring this to your doctor's attention, or you can even go down to a pharmacist, let them know what you're on, and also show them this tonic so they can see if any of the herbs in here will contradict with your medication. I know for a fact that anyone who is on high blood pressure medication, definitely, I believe you cannot be taking this because this will instantly lower your blood pressure. So it's great if you want to talk to your pharmacist and seeing how you can come off your medication, but I definitely wouldn't do it without supervision. So this formula right here by St. Francis, St. Francis, I just want to point out, is probably one of my most favorite supplement companies. I do a lot of supplement consulting, and I've worked with many different brands, and this one I found has always stood out. It's used actually by quite a few naturopathic doctors, and it just has an amazing reputation. So what I love about this blend is the herbs that they're using. So just right here in the ingredients, you can see rhodiola, holy basil, and ashwagandha. These three, I would say, are probably the three main herbs that you'll find in almost everything. Rhodiola is a herb from China, and it's used as an anti-aging herb. And the reason why it's known for that is because it reduces oxidative stress in the body. So when we are under a lot of stress, we are oxidizing. We're oxidizing our cells. We're pretty much deteriorating our body, and we're aging at a faster rate. The rhodiola helps to reverse that. The holy basil is an amazing herb for stress. It will help to naturally bring down the cortisol, as will the rhodiola, but overall, it just gives you a really good sense of relaxation. And the ashwagandha is an adaptogenic herb. So what this means is it adapts to your body in whatever way your body needs it. So you can use this in the daytime, and it helps to give you that natural burst of energy without putting a heavy burden on your adrenals. It actually helps to rejuvenate and to restore your adrenals. And what's so lovely about this herb too is as you take it throughout the day, it also helps you wind down at night and get back into that natural sleep cycle where you are feeling tired at night and have a good deep sleep. Schisandra berry is another one of my absolute favorites. This you will find in absolutely everything. It is one of the only berries, or I guess you can say herbs, that actually detoxifies both phases of the liver. Phases 1 and 2. It's used in immune support. It's used in mental clarity support. It's used in like daily greens and liver detoxes and thyroid, literally almost everything. So this blend right here, it's going to help your body reduce the cortisol levels, reverse and repair from some of the damage that's been done, and overall bring you that sense of relaxation and calmness. And it's amazing for really helping you to adapt to the mental, emotional, and physical stressors that you have going on in your life. So yeah, that was the main product that I kind of wanted to bring to your attention, but also wanted to bring some attention to this topic because I find that so many people, we are going through such heavy loads of extreme fatigue, and they're not 100% sure what it is. So I would definitely say take a look, maybe do your own research on adrenal fatigue, see if it resonates with you, and go from there. So this is one of my absolute favorite topics to talk about in my programs. Nutrition Academy is my newest program that I actually have launching here in the next 4 weeks. It starts on February 27th. So if this is something that you have found that has really resonated with you, I highly encourage you to connect with me and to learn more about my program that is coming out on the 27th, because there's definitely going to be a whole bunch of other stuff that will further help you and really help you transition into removing whatever it is in your life, mentally, physically, emotionally, that it is holding you back and bringing down your energy level. So yeah, check out the program, see how we can work together in restoring your energy and getting you back on track with feeling like your vibrant self. Okay, talk to you later. Have a great day. Bye.